were the 10,192 accounts, did they receive water? Let's walk a step back. Because they could be active, but they're not receiving water. For instance, when you see when the governor attempted here to say that these 731 were discontinued, basically it means that they did not receive water. In your view, did all of them receive water?
Thank you, Chair. Our expectation is that because they were active, they were receiving water.
So you see the stalemate, Governor?
No, but we said they're not active. You see, if it's not active, it's not active.
I think the way forward, honorable members.
It's a D, the system says it's D, we printed out it's D, we answered and explained to you. Now, if you insist it's active, does it become active?
That's why we were saying you sample them. Just sample the accounts.
So, auditor, what you can do, sample of a few accounts and go and recheck and come back to us in 14 days. 14 days to be fair to them.
But even as we do that, as a Senate committee, and you're doing oversight, maybe you should give us clarity or direction on what happens on something that is materially should not be in a report. That information has been provided, an answer has been given, because you're also oversighting the Auditor General, that this audit query should not have appeared completely. So what happens when the auditor ignores information that is given on a specific query? What happens?
Thank you,
Because also
Chair.
the auditor can be wrong. You remember there's a time we came for an audit. I don't know what matter it was. It was SG. The issue of tankers. Tankers. And they almost made it look like we have how many? You remember that issue when it was a material mistake by the auditor, but nothing happens. So it will be good for, as we move forward, for also everyone to know they have a responsibility, to follow those steps.
Because I am also audited, and we go through this every single year. I remember there was a time when the auditor was insisting that we should not disclose in our books how much money we expect from government under the law, because they're saying we are over budgeting and the revenues are not matching the budget. But when you sit with the officers from the Auditor General and you exchange correspondence, you will tell them you object to this being like this or stated like this, and then they will say, no, this is the reason why you go through that process with them during the audit process, and you keep record. Because these matters cannot emerge. Of course, they can make mistakes.
That's why
but it is the responsibility of the entity that is being audited. You can demonstrate that you provided documents. You can demonstrate that you disagree with the auditor's view by the correspondence that you exchange during the audit process.
That's why I've shown you the letter we wrote on that issue.
That's what I'm saying. So beyond that, really, I don't know what your expectation would be, Governor.
Well, the committee should have a provision, as you give your report, also to sanction the auditor. Yes.
Chair, Honorable Chair.
Yes, I mean, I think we did that. When we did the Public Audit Act, I was in Parliament. And the question that has always been there of who audits the auditor, came up. Of course, the National Assembly gets an entity, because everybody must have a responsibility, These days, you find a sensational headline, either from the Controller of Budget or the Auditor General. Then when you look at the crux of the matter, we're just eroding all public trust in institutions, So I was just saying it as by the way, it's not a material thing. But when we've given an answer, in all honesty, you have access to the system, yet you don't do your part, something needs to be done as well, Chair.
Fair enough. So I think the auditors, I give you the 14 days, go and re-verify the information and come back to us on that query. But I'll give you an opportunity to say something. Auditor.
Thank you, Chair. What I want to mention is that sometimes you can include a report in the management letter and then the client responds without giving any support to that. Now, in the case that we have here, you will find that the data that we have been provided, we have received some analysis on the same, which has been done from the response in February 2025. So if this analysis had actually been done then then it would have been provided then, and the auditor would have reconfirmed. So I doubt that this information was provided then. The figures could have been provided, yes, but the data to support those figures may not have been provided.
I've directed that you go and reconfirm and come back to us in 14 days. Yeah. So let's proceed to query on long outstanding trade and other payable. This is almost similar to that, to what we have covered, but it is about people who have not paid, 4.1 billion. Auditor?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Long outstanding trade and other payables. The statement of financial position, and as disclosed in note 29 to the financial statements, reflects trade and other payables balance of Kenya shillings 5 billion 344 million 30,050. However, included in the balance are trade and other payables balance of Kenya shillings 4 billion 144 million 716,223, which had been outstanding for more than 180 days. In the circumstances, the accuracy, validity, and completeness of trade and other payables balance of Kenya shillings 4 billion 144 million 716,223 could not be confirmed. Thank you.
Sorry, these are payables. These are people who are owed. So, Governor, you can respond.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, again, the number looks big. Let me answer what I wrote first, then I can give context. As observed, the company's payables stood at 5.3 billion, which includes 2.2 billion owed to NAP Trust. That accumulated from the actuarial deficit and interest, and the company was at that time pursuing a loan to settle that amount. 1.7 billion was release fees, and 490 million were abstraction fees. While the difference of 900 million is what now relates to people who have been paid, relates to trade payables, which is approximately within the credit period. The current tariff is not responsive to inflation and cost recovery. However, we're engaging WASREP for approval of a new tariff that is that has cost recovery and responsive to inflation. We're also putting mechanisms, just to keep improving revenue. So, Chair, just two parts to that. One, the 2.2 billion is an old debt about the LAP Trust. And, that was a LAP Trust DB fund, which is closed, Defined Benefit Fund. At that point, the company was pursuing a facility, and we had given authority, but I withdrew that authority because the circumstances around that interest, was not prudent. I also withdrew because at that point I'm aware, and we're still ongoing, over debt swap that we are pursuing with the national government. That debt swap, as of the last meeting we had, there was an issue of valuation. This relates to our land that the Supreme Court said belongs to us. So we expect 75 billion shillings that we can have in different tranches. That for one debt they will do a swap, for another debt they will pay us over time, for another one there's what we owe the national government. So that process is ongoing, and we should have a meeting actually this week to conclude. And so that is why I made the decision that it's good to save the county getting into debt, taking a loan, yet there is an impending process that can provide for you those resources. This 1.7 billion WASREP lease fees is part of what I'm saying is completely unconscionable. Like it is, I don't know how WASREP expects water service providers to operate when they ask for 4%. 4% of your revenue. They're asking for 4% of your revenue. They have sat themselves, they have decided this is what they'll charge, and for doing nothing, Regulation or providing regulatory, whatever function they do, has no correlation with revenue, because they look at governance, they look at processes, they look at whether you're following the law. So that is something that we dispute. And I don't think the people of Nairobi would want us to pay 1.7 billion to a regulatory body. Yet 1.7 billion can be used to take water to Nyati Court and all these places that are underserved. So this is something we completely feel should not be what counties are charged. They can have a management fee that WSPs pay, a specific fee just for the administration, because WASREP doesn't build dams, they don't do anything, I mean, beyond what their mandate is. Of course, I acknowledge the good work they do within their mandate. In fact, now we're negotiating with them a new tariff discussion. You know, we're still in that process for a new water tariff. So the actual amount, Chair, this Warma obstruction fees, I'll let the MD talk about. I'm not clear on the 490 million. The 900 million is what was payables, but we felt they're within the credit period, Chair. So it is not 5.4 billion owed to business people and hustlers. It is, as I've broken it down. The 1.7, I hope you can assist us, and other WSPs, 4% of revenue from an entity providing service. You know, we're not a profit-making entity, but an entity providing service to people, whether it is Nairobi, Water, Kiambu, Muranga, etc., I think is completely off and should not be allowed by this House. Thank you, Chair. Maybe MD can expound kindly.
Thank you so much. Let the MD expound, and then the auditor will comment, then members will come in.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. When we actually abstract raw water from the rivers, we also buy that water from Water Resources Authority. That's the money which which has accrued without us paying the full amount. But every month, again, we give Water Resources Authority 10 million shillings every month. From the revenue we collect, we give them 10 million shillings to pay for the water which we abstract from the rivers. So again, just like the governor is saying, I do not understand why we pay with that kind of money instead of extending services actually to the people of Nairobi, or not only Nairobi, any other county. So some of these fees should be actually scrubbed by the Senate or Parliament so that we can provide services. This is money we collect from the citizens direct. We should plow back that money to the citizens through service provision. Or rather, what is happening is we are giving the national government money, then we again come here to cry that we are unable to provide the service. We need subsidies from the national government. Again, this money you can see here, the 900 million, is the kind of the institutions, national government institutions, water service providers, who give water, they don't pay. This is the money which is pending as unpaid. When you look at the normal domestic customers, the amount pending is very low from them. Thank you so much.
Chair, let me give to the auditors first. Auditor, your comments on the response.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. This was the position as at that June 2024. What we have not received is a document to show how much of this has been recovered, including the 900 million being mentioned there. So we don't know whether it was current because we have not seen how much has been paid as at now. Thank you.
Okay, Governor, I want to agree with you on the issue of WASREP. This committee we are actually finalizing a report on the issue of the water sector. And one of the things we are questioning is WASREP fees. Because WASREP is a national government entity. Why would county governments be the ones to finance WASREP? Yet is a national government entity. So we have issues there, which this Senate, through this committee, is trying to address on that. So maybe you can, as one way of helping you can do a formal correspondence to this committee on that matter so that we can pick it up. Let me start. He was first to request.
Yeah, so, first, Governor, we want to assure you that on that particular issue, we are with the governors on this one. Those of us who believe in devolution proper, first of all, do not believe that these institutions should even exist. Because if water is a devolved function, I don't even know what you are doing negotiating with them. You as a county entity or county government, should be the one to set the rates for the products. There was an even greater conversation in the Senate one time that we get a lot of our water from, say, Muranga. We should be paying Muranga that money for that abstraction and not this national government, if indeed Muranga can claim that the water belongs to them. But we know that the water does not belong to them. It just happens to be there. But my... Yes. I'm being told it came from Nyandarua. It was just passing through Muranga. I don't know how true that is. But my issue is sometimes, Governor, you use language that is very deceptive here. When you say that the current tariff is not responsive to inflation and cost recovery, what are you saying? And when you say you want review of tariffs in Nairobi, can you say with a straight face that you want Nairobians to pay more for the water? Engineer Muguna is saying that we, the domestic users, are actually the best in terms of payments. So why do you want to punish us by reviewing the tariff upwards?
Review, no one has said upwards, Senator.
Are you saying
First
downwards?
First of all, no one has said upwards.
So are you saying downwards?
It doesn't have to be up or down.
Sure.
It is how a tariff has components.
Yes.
Yeah. There are different. You remember we have had the discussion on Green Nairobi company that is supposed to get a percentage from the water tariff without necessarily making it more or higher. That's the discussion we're in. Nairobians pay for their water very well. And even several breweries. And the South Africa breweries are taking, is it a sixth of our water? 100 million liters per day, yet we have 600. So sometimes, I was wondering why are we giving breweries so much water, but still, it's our citizens still who drink the product from there. Nairobi Bottlers is number 2, Kenyatta University number 3. They're paying, so that's not the issue. But the issue was this issue of now WASREP wanting us to pay them 4% of our revenue. I think that should be, and I will write, Chair.
That one we are on agreement, so can you just state for the record, the people of Nairobi should not expect higher water tariffs?
No, you can't box me to say that, to make an announcement.
That's what you have said.
No, I've said what I've said. I've said what I've said, Senator. Don't get an announcement. But when you want to announce the tariff, it will be announced.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
My concern was, we, the users of the water,
Yeah.
you confirmed yourself, we just want you to insulate us from higher tariffs when you are doing this negotiation. As we fight for you, you leave WASREP to us, but you make an assurance to the people.
Senator, I'm also a good politician. I have said what I've said.
And we have also noted what you have refused.
Exactly, yes. That's good.
Resolution of the Senate on payment of monies that were pending to Lab Trust and Lab Fund. Wasn't there a resolution of the Senate to give timelines for the payment of that?
Yes, in fact, that's what I wanted to raise with the governor. We had an inquiry, a full inquiry done by this committee on the issue of outstanding pension, where counties owe pensioners close to 80 billion shillings. So this matter was serious. We did a resolution of the House. We recommended the creation of a task force by Treasury. Treasury has created the task force. The task force has collected views from all the counties, but they have not submitted the reports to us yet because they said they have not met Nairobi County.
That is not true. I've met them.
And your bill
I have met them, Chair.
Your bill is 8.7
and in fact,
billion.
Chair, I have guided them on how to rehabilitate something called actual deficit.
Yeah.
The maths that they were using is completely wrong from professional point of view. Actual deficit cannot be charged at the same time as the interest, especially when an entity is engaging. And just that alone, my intervention at the 14th floor of Treasury has almost halved what these companies are asking counties. Chair, I remember I was the chairman of Labour in this house.
Yeah.
And that discussion started then. In fact, at some point, we had proposed a conditional grant to counties to be able to address the issue of the verified outstanding amounts in pensions. As we speak, I'm also the chair of human resource at the COG. So it's something I'm very well seized of. And Nairobi's position is that we want to offset it in a way that is not going to create more debt to the city, which had been the norm. So the task force should not use that as an excuse. I've sat with them. In fact, after the meeting, they asked me to do for them a paper, because I think we educated them a bit. The problem was that what was being proposed by the actuaries of the companies, or rather of the institutions that are owed. So you see, it was skewed towards them. And I'll give you an example. In Nairobi, we cleared, for instance, I've cleared my entire lab fund debt, which is a milestone. I've cleared the principal, but the interest is still there. So now I'm only paying interest, yet somebody is going to come and claim actuarial deficit. Professionally, that's not how it's supposed to be done. And so we're engaging with them. But the point is that we wanted ours cleared by way of that swap. And number two, I have attended that task force and we've engaged very positively. That time it was chaired by Albert Mwenda.
So Governor, we have seen your colleagues do agreements with these institutions. Makueni is the most recent example that I can remember. Do you have agreements with these institutions on how we are going to clear these debts?
No.
Because if it's just statements of intent, then they are not helpful to us.
So the outcome of that process is to now present the new bill, what amount it is. As I told you, we've almost halved, based on that reclassification that we've done within the task force. When I went to, I think, who did I go with? South Kerich, yeah, and some members of my team. So you do an agreement based on now what they're saying, okay, based on this is what we owe you, or rather you owe us.
So what stage is that process?
There's a task force, I don't know. It's under treasury. Once they conclude, then they will have now a figure that they are claiming from us. That is what we are waiting for.
So actually, we have invited the CS twice to appear before us and table the final report, which has a number of recommendations, including having debt settlement agreements with those companies, including even conditional grant from the national government, and also including having a bond that can be given to counties to clear, and then they pay back. So there's a raft of recommendations.
And Chair, I'll ask you to be really keen on that. Without imputing any improper motive, some of these institutions have in the past used that issue of the debt to get assets from counties, to untwist counties. You need to protect how the debts are sorted out. And I mean, if we had time, I would come and give some recommendations when it comes to that. It happened in Nairobi in previous administrations. They gave out, which estate is this? Mariakani Estate. And they have not even been able to recoup yet. The potential of partnering with these institutions to create a bankable project that then has beneficiaries, both the county and your debt is sorted out, is huge, because they have a lot of liquidity, Chair. So that's the direction you should take. Okay. An engagement with them, for instance, Your Excellency, but also Your Excellency, becoming a governor. I can give you an example of a project we're looking at around the CBD with them that would cost maybe around 9 billion, but we do it as a joint venture. Even urban renewal, housing, if we go into joint ventures with these funds, one, they're able to adhere to the RBA ratio of assets and liquidity. Number two, they're able to ensure the pensioners have, assured income over time, because that is what is most important. And three, you don't burden counties. That is what my proposal would be on that regard.
Chair.
Yes, proceed.
Chair, long outstanding trade and other payables is usually, the audit query here is that they are not within the credit period, which is the outstanding more than 180 days. What the auditor is trying to allude here is very simple. Are they being considered fast charge? Because that is what should happen, given that, again, I still go back to the issue of material uncertainty. But Chair, the response here, with what is the financial statements do not tally. And I want us to go to note 8. I mean, not 29 of the financial statements, so that perhaps you can just help me understand some things, Governor, here. Because I believe that the financial statements are not prepared by the auditor. From the signing, I can see here it is signed by Paul Omondi, Chairman Arnold Karanja, and MD Nation Muguna. Those are the people who have signed this financial document, isn't it, Governor? So let's go to note 8, not two. I don't know what I'm saying. Note 8, note 29. So in note 29, the trade and payables is 2.7 billion. Is that so, auditor? I just want to be sure that this is the document that you received from the governor.
Yes, Chair.
The gratitude accrued is 79 million. The employee payables is 2.3 billion. And then other payables is 116 million. I leave here confused. I don't know who you're owing, Governor. Because what you have given here and what the people organized these finances did here are two different things. The only thing that is standing here is perhaps the outstanding amount that as observed by the auditor, which is 5.3 billion. But based on the audited finances, it's different.
Chair, you know, Senator Sifuna said something very useful, that many people here are not accountants. Let me just ask my finance director to explain to you very slowly what each part of this means.
Fine. That's fine.
You must protect us from the governor.
Oh, you're the one who introduced that.
Now he's casting aspersions as to our ability to comprehend. Financial
Okay,
statements.
let's go the way he
Using your
wants
words.
it. Let's go the way he wants it. There's no problem. Let's go just slowly as you want us to go through.
Proceed.
Even I am also not an accountant.
Accountant, proceed.
Thank you. Through the chairman, note 29, trade and other payables. We are looking at the column 2024. So the first one is trade payables, 2.7 billion. The 2.7 billion includes WASREB, that is in the response, includes WRA, which is in the response, that is Water Resources Management Authority, and the other sundry debtors. We've lumped them together. That is a 2.7. The schedules of the same are available. Gratitude accrued.
Can we have the schedule?
Yes, the schedule can be provided.
Is it in this financial statement?
Schedules are ordinarily not attached to the financial statements. They are provided at the time of audit.
Auditor, did you receive the schedule?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Yes, the schedule supporting the balances have been received. They were received during the audit.
Do we have them here?
No, they are not there. Because the issue was the
They don't
issue
need
of
to. They don't need to be here. Those ones are provided during audit process.
No, because they don't tell you what you're saying, but continue.
Thank you. Gratitude accrued.
Sorry, Chair. What is not tallying with what?
Your explanation under your responses. Okay?
Is not tallying with what?
With what is officially in your financial document.
But it is. What is the difference? How much is the difference?
We
5.3 and we're talking about 5.3. We're saying that 5.3 is all of this involved. 2.7 is in there. The 1.7 is in there. 2.2 for 90. It's all part of it. Then the balance of 900 is what is owed to suppliers and within the credit period. Unless I'm not understanding, Chair.
Just a simple illustration, Governor. On that, those notes, note 29, there is employee payables of 2.39, right?
Yes.
Would that be the amount that you say is due to LAP Trust?
That is LAP Trust. The 2.2 is actually 2.236. There is a LAP Fund, and there is Madison.
Now, the reason why our math is not mathing is you did not include any of those two other entities you have talked about in that response. That's why Eddie is saying it is not adding up.
Oh, now I understand.
So I think it is you to be explained to slow the government where our
Full
confusion has come from. Because for us, we saw
So what's the question?
So the question was in the responses when you're itemizing in the responses you are itemizing, you should be able to itemize so that the figures tally add up to what is in the financial statements. That's what Eddie was saying. So you left out those two institutions. You said which one and which one?
Lab Fund and Madison.
Yeah.
However,
So
I may
in your response, Governor, you will see there's no reference to those two.
the debt owed to Lab Fund and Madison are current. The ones we mentioned in the response are the ones that are beyond 180 days.
Where is the 180 days?
So in the response, just include everything so that that confusion can be sorted out, because the figure is 2.2 here and 2.39.
That is
No, we're not including everything. The question is, what is beyond 180 days? And that is why we've mentioned those that are beyond 180 days.
Chair, I think the issue here is, as we have said, we are also not experts. I think the issue is language. Because if you look at its long outstanding threat and other papers, and the governor and his team are saying they did not include those that are below 180 days. So basically, we should not belabor on issues that were not raised by the auditor.
Exactly.
And there is a detailed analysis on maturity of those payables. And
Where is that,
40 I think under note 40.
I can't see that, Chair, but
We have made a reference to 40, not 40. The risk management objectives and policies. 40 I, credit risk. It's not relating. It's not related. Okay. So what we have said is that as we wait for the correspondence from the county, we will try to intervene on the issue of 1.7 billion to WASREM, 2.2 billion to Lab Trust. It's a process that is already ongoing. We are waiting for the report from Treasury, and we'll be able to help the county on that.
On the WASREB and the WARMA, maybe what they need to do as a Council of Governors, they need to raise issue on the regulations, because I believe the percentages are in the regulations, so that, we can review, we can make amendments on the regulations.
Yeah, that will be done by the delegated legislation committee. They can do a request to the delegated legislation on the amendment of regulations.
The certain came up with them. They didn't even come to Parliament, as they should. Yeah. I see that is a way.
So let's move, honorable members. I'm seeing time is not on our side. So though we have 20 paragraphs to cover, we are only going to, after discussing with the clerk, we are only going to pick the key queries. That's a query on lack of land ownership documents. Then there is a query on trade and other receivables. And then there is a query on material uncertainty relating to going concern. There is a query on unaccounted for non-revenue water. And then there is an issue on unsustainable wage bill. Yeah, so we do those, and then we'll clear for the day. But I'm going to suggest that we have a health break for 5 minutes. When we come back, we start with a query on lack of land ownership documents. 5 minutes. Okay.
this committee.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, everyone. Karibu, Excellency, Nairobi County. My name is Senator Hamida Kibwana, member of this committee.
Thank you, Chair and members.
Nairobi delegation.
Thank you, Chair and members, Your Excellency, the Governor and your team, our partners. I am Senator Beth Siengo from Kitui County.